Hello and Happy New Year. Welcome to the new season of Gina's Gems, where you get to hear from the intellectual capital that is the MMA ADL team. And every now and again, we have a special guest, and today is one of those days. We are kicking things off with one of my favorite people on the planet, Gerri Burruel. Gerri's the Managing Director of Purchaser Innovation and Engagement at Purchaser Business Group on Health, commonly referred to as PBGH. A veteran in the large employer space for decades, Gerri brings her expertise and the purchaser perspective to PBGH. Previously, she worked for several large national and global organizations, which makes Gerri well-versed in the large, complex environment and the issues that come along with it. Hi, Gerri. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Gina. Thanks for having me.
You bet. So today's topic is one of our favorites around an employee's experience when it comes to taking a leave of absence. You and I have discussed this topic ad nauseum, and in an ideal world, wouldn't it be great to have what you called a 1-800-I-NEED-A-LEAVE line? And I agree. Tell me more about what you've experienced as an employer when it comes to taking a leave of absence.
Sure. So first of all, I'd like to give credit to my former boss for the 1-800-I-NEED-A-LEAVE. I completely agree with it. It would be wonderful if that's how easy it was for employees, but it's not. It's challenging. It's not a common thing for an individual. It's common for the employer. A large employer has lots of leaves, but an employee has maybe one in their entire career. So they don't know what to do. So they need something simple. They don't even know who to call. This is my experience when I was managing leaves and the process, and I hear it from other employers that I work with through PBGH. So I know it's challenging. And I know employers talk a lot about the employee experience when it comes to healthcare, but we need to translate that to the leave process so that it's easy.
Yeah, I know. I think you make a really good point. You know, we all know what happens at open enrollment when we go to elect our healthcare benefits, but exactly to your point, you know, many of us never even take a leave. So if it's something that's happening to you, possibly, hopefully once, you know, there's no, previous experience in doing it. So it does make it challenging. So I often wonder the same thing. How can we make it simpler for employees?
Right. And the employer is managing several types of leaves, many types of leaves, more than ever nowadays. And employees are remote and they're in different states and different laws apply and new laws are coming out. It's not a simple process all around.
And it's a very visible benefit. Leaves are very visible. You've said that to me before, and that kind of stuck with me. And I do remember at your last job when you were VP of benefits, you guys rolled out a parental leave program, and it seemed to come along with a lot of confusion. And I sort of filed it under that no good deed goes unpunished scenario. So if you're open to it, are you willing to share a little bit more about that experience?
Yeah, a real lesson learned for us. When the parental leave idea was brought to us by our women's resource group, which was great, to be able to work with the employees to develop a policy. They did all the research around it, and they had executive support. That's part of the resource group. So bringing it forward to leadership was a great process. And we got approval, surprisingly, right away. So we began the process of implementation. And it seemed fairly easy. We had legal help, to interpret. And we put the process in place. And of course, people began to take the leaves. And that's where the problems began. It was confusing. It wasn't clear to them. It wasn't clear to our internal team that was administering it. And things just went bad right out of the gate. We heard so many complaints that we formed a focus group to see how we're going to deal with this. The focus group was comprised of a lot of folks from the legal department. Just coincidentally, they were the ones that, were taking these parental leaves. And to a person on that focus group, they basically said, we never knew whether we got paid correctly or not. They just basically threw up their hands and said, I don't know, I give. I'm not going to fight it anymore. It was a horrible outcome for us. It was a terrible experience for them. Just really bad all the way around. So we really took that to heart and focused on improving it. It took a lot of work. The work that we should have done in the first place. We should have recognized that it was complex. We should have recognized that it needed a lot of resources. We should have made sure our senior leadership knew that, and we should have done it that way in the first place.
And I might add, you're talking about a group of attorneys, right? So imagine large employers who've got employees maybe who are on the manufacturing floor at a plant, et cetera, right? And have a different level of education. So if it's that difficult to navigate for someone with 2 degrees, imagine an ordinary person like me trying to do it. It definitely is complex and has its challenges.
And it leaves a bad taste in the employee's mouth, right? What is my employer trying to do here? Maybe they really don't want me to take this leave, so.
Yeah. So based on that experience, Gerri, what would you say are your lessons learned, or, what would you offer as your advice to employers?
I think it's really twofold. One is the employer should recognize the complexity on their side and devote the resources that are really needed, especially at the beginning of a new policy, new program. And then also on the employee side, when an employee takes a leave, generally, they're not in their best place. They're not their best selves. They're dealing with some sort of illness, some sort of disease, stress, whatever it might be. Right. And at the time when they are least able to navigate the process, this complicated, difficult process, we expect them to. We make it difficult for them. We need to recognize what that looks like from their side and really make it simple, make it clean, make it empathetic.
Yeah.
So that they can take that leave that they need when they need it.
Yeah. Which is the whole point of offering it in the first place,
Exactly.
right? It is a benefit after all. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, I feel like we could talk forever about this, so I'll let you go, but I'm so glad you were here. I appreciate you sharing all of your insights on this topic. I'm sure for those of you watching, you found it really compelling as well. Gerri's such a special guest, so we're happy to have had her here. And please tune in 2 more weeks for the next episode of Gina's Gems. Thanks, Gerri.
Thanks, Gina.